Hey, good afternoon. I'm Rick Luke, Planning Section Chief, California Team 5. Welcome to the Creek South Zone Planning Meeting for October 5th. What I'd like you to do is turn down your cell phones and hold any conversations to a minimal during the briefing. All right, current situation.
Okay, afternoon, everybody. John Goss, Planning Ops Trainee. Okay, so I guess the word for this afternoon is overall activity has definitely increased, specifically up in Branch 20. So that area around Edison Lake, Mono Hot Springs, we did get two spots across the Kaiser Pass Road, right in between High Sierra Ranger Station and Mono Hot Springs. The first one happened probably about 3 hours ago, and at last check it was 400 to 500 acres and doing pretty well for itself. And then right above that spot, as you're going towards Edison Lake, we got another spot across the road, and that one's doing pretty well for itself as well. So again, lots of activity right now, currently in Division November along that Kaiser Pass Road. Moving back around Division Papa area, also on the lower part of the C, which has not really done anything the last 7 or 8 days, has also started doing, has also picked up an activity. And you'll hear a report out from Jeff on that activity. So again, everything up in the high country today is definitely showing the result of some pretty warm temps and some drying out. After we leave that area, going down into Division Romeo, no issues there, as folks are still out there trying to get some containment in there. And then even down in Branch 25 and 29 around the bottom of the fire, no issues, no concerns on the lower portion of the fire. Again, all the activity today is definitely up in Branch 20. End report.
Thank you, John. Weather.
Good evening, Incident Meteorologist Mark Pellerito here. So there's our satellite picture for this afternoon, and you can see the footprint there of the creek fire. North Zone had their plume that they've had several days in a row, but now we have ours showing up as well. Radar shows that it's getting up to around 20,000 feet at times. So one thing that happened today is the inversion didn't just weaken as expected, it actually mixed out a little bit, and so we got more free motion of air in the unstable air above the ridges. So also a little bit extra southwest gustiness too, 15 to 20 miles per hour. So that's today, but what's going to change about tomorrow? Let's go ahead and look at this. Why am I showing a meteorological plot? Well, let me tell you. This right here is a model sounding. On the right is temperature with altitude. On the left is moisture with altitude, the dew point. And we're going to see something new tomorrow. I have been here almost 2 weeks, and the first morning I got here, I saw some few high clouds. Haven't seen any since. But tomorrow we actually do have a layer of moisture where the temperature and dew point come together. You got moisture. The problem, what's not going to change, is that we have 20,000 feet of extremely dry air between that high thin layer of clouds and our fire ground. So that's still going to be a problem. There you can see the inversion that is expected to still be in place for tomorrow. So let's bring up the matrix. And on the matrix, you can see that, yes, we continue to tick down our temperatures bit by bit, but the minimum humidity and the humidity recovery are still in sad shape. And I do expect single-digit RHs on the ridges, just like happened today. And then the recovery just really poor tonight and really poor tomorrow night, so that's not going to change. The things that do change, as I mentioned, we are going to get some extra shading from some high, thin clouds, and the instability on the ridges is going to go down a notch, and that will hopefully help things a little bit. And not as much southwest gustiness either, just more of the plain terrain-driven winds with some gusts around 15 miles per hour. You get to tomorrow night, and the usual terrain-driven downslope, down valley, and the big spread in temperatures from 40s to in the low spots and elevated valleys to more like 50s and 60s elsewhere. But again, really poor humidity recovery, and that's going to take us a while to climb out of that humidity problem. That's it for fire weather.
Thank you, Mark. Fire behavior.
Good evening, Jeff Shelton, Team 5 Fire Behavior. So today was just a scenario where you had the intersection of exposure and opportunity. The exposure was fuels that were just absolutely primed. If you can go to that next slide, please. We are now, if you're looking at this graph, this is the High Sierra Raws where the fire crossed over. The 97th percentile, you see that yellow line, that's the actual. We're in the 100th percentile. This is record-setting territory, new ground, never kind of experienced it this time of year before. So that's the exposure, and then the opportunity is the fire was able to it was moving up that drainage, and it was moving right up the center of the drainage, and it found a little bit of slope to go up, and it moved across the line, and now it's into some country that has a different fuel type. It's not nearly as scabby. We're kind of looking at a new version of what is possible for this time of year. It's almost like taking the calendar and imagining we're here the first part of September, maybe the end of August, because that's what the fire is kind of acting like at this point. Steeper topography is now in place, specifically if we go back to the map, specifically over there in November, and again on the lower side of the sea in Papa, where that heat is retained. The models did show that bottom side, which we haven't really been looking at. It's basically north of Huntington Lake, but before you get up to the high country there. A couple days ago, there was quite a few smokes that I looked from a turnout looking over the lake, and you could see them in the understory. Well, just being exposed to that southwest wind today and the dry temperatures that's caused it to get some legs. You'll probably get quite a few calls from the folks that are in Huntington Lake because it's going to be very visible from that area. The fuels that are in front of the fire where it's currently positioned and moved out to the south or north of Mount Gibbons. That's what's the large area between where it says Division R and where the fire's edge is indicated there. Those fuels are much more heavily loaded. It's a north-facing aspect. It's got more fuel. It's got more moisture, and we're going to have a different experience than we've had the last couple days out there, because actually this was as favorable a terrain as we were going to get in this type of weather scenario. It was fairly flat, kind of bowl, and it was moving through that. Now it's in some areas that have a much higher fuel loading. The crown spacing is much tighter, and so we're going to expect fire activity to probably be more aerial oriented. I'm expecting surface fire, high intensity surface fire, as long as those RHs, if you go back to the slide with the matrix, please. As long as those RHs, especially the recoveries at night, one more please, are in that zone of less than 20%, or even starting out at 25. Until we get to Wednesday, I'm not seeing any real relief, and that's going to be just taking the 1 hours out of play. The heavy fuels are still going to be passing it along for quite a while. The only bright spot would be what would be coming Friday and Saturday, where it would slow it down. So we're just going to kind of have to potentially relook at our posture of where the fire's going and what our strategy is going to be in that area. So yeah, for tomorrow, just kind of a day that guys are going to have to reevaluate what they're seeing in relationship to the fire behavior, because it's going to be a little different because of the fuels, the continuity. Any questions?
Thank you, Jeff. The incident objectives remain the same. Good to go. Thank you. Operational priorities and assignments.
Okay, John Goss again for the 24-hour operational parade for October 5th and 6th. Starting up in Division November, still looking at the primary line construction on Kaiser Road North towards the Vermilion Valley Resort in preparation for firing. Also, in addition, there's execute defensive firing is needed to defend values at risk. A little bit of a change today. If we could flip to the map real quick, we're looking at using the trail system from Edison Lake to Devil's Bathtub. So again, a couple of different terminology. Devil's Table is in a different spot that Devil's Bathtub is. So Devil's Bathtub is that lake above Edison Lake that's a nice little egg-looking shape there, a rectangle there. So looking at a little more of an indirect option to get us back in the San Joaquin River than previously talked about. As far as the needs in this particular division, they're looking for 3 Type 2IA crews and then some middle management, task force leader, and a couple falling modules. Moving on to Division Papa. Still have a presence down at Huntington Lake as far as a tactical patrol. Still holding on to the direct line that comes out of Huntington Lake. There's a little piece of black line that we're still holding that's still valid there up in the Potter Pass area. And what we had to do yesterday is based on the fire activity that was on the top of the horseshoe or top of the sea, we had to pull back from those efforts, and now we're back to prepping the Kaiser Pass of the 80 road from the intersection there up on top to Kaiser Summit. And then from Kaiser Summit, then we're looking to drag, there's a trail system and a nice ridge line to get us over to tie into the hand line that we stopped in the Potter Pass trail system there. So a little bit different work assignments in Division Papa there. Looking for two Type 3 engines and some middle management as well, a task force leader, felling boss, and 2 falling modules. Division Romeo, work assignments remain unchanged, still securing that edge to the extent necessary to prevent any further fire spread, with that emphasis on the division break between Sierra and Romeo. So overall needs for this branch, looking for 7 Type 2IA crews. And the reason for that, now that we have a good complement of hotshot crews, we probably have more hotshot crews than any incident, at least in South Ops. The potential there is to grab those hotshot crews definitely exists. So looking to shore up and get some crews in behind those Type 1 crews by bringing in some Type 2IA crews. Okay, still have a night presence with November Papa Romeo. Work assignments in there, still holding that Kaiser Pass Road. Now with the new activity today, of course, there's going to be some reassessment in that area, but looking for some other opportunities there. And then we did add a division for tomorrow. You'll see it on plans, Division Mike, because the zone break is staying in the same place, but we added a division on our side there. And that'll be Division Mike, and looking to get a division in there for the next shift there. Okay, going down to branch 25 and 29, and this is the SU. This particular division there, still securing the fire's edge to the extent necessary, and then focused efforts there at that division break between Sierra and Romeo. So as far as branch 25 and 29, this particular division has the bulk of the resources there. No needs in this division. Victor Whiskey and X-Ray Zulu, work assignments remain unchanged. And as you could kind of tell, X-Ray Zulu is just going to have a task force of engines, and that's it. So we're getting to the point on the lower half of this incident that we could be down to 1 task force and meet the needs of that particular division. And again, no needs in branch 25 and 29. Last but not least, the suppression repair group, again, continues to be heavily staffed there. You can see all the heavy equipment that we have. And we've also got a couple needs as well, looking for a couple specialized excavators and masticators, and some heavy equipment bosses and some falling modules there. And their work assignments remain unchanged because they're still in the general vicinity of Shaver Lake, south and east, and still working on the road systems in Stump Springs area. Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you, John. Air operations.
Hey, good evening. For air operations, we were able to get some flying today. Little bit on the north or south end, but predominantly on the north end this afternoon as the south end was getting smoked out. We're running out of 2 helibases. The helibase on the south end, Auberry, was smoked out all day, not able to fly, but we were able to fly out of Mariposa, which is a helibase on the north end. So for tomorrow, we got 4 Type 1 helicopters, 6 Type 2 helicopters, and 3 Type 3 that are shared and working out of the 2 helibases, Auberry and Mariposa. We'll have air attack, and also for coverage, we'll have the Cobra for Helco. Thanks.
Thank you, John. Safety.
Hey, good evening. Brian Savage, Team 5 Safety. Safety supports the plan for tomorrow. We'll have less line safeties working tomorrow due to demob. We'll have 1 qualified safety out there who's actually the other team safety working out of China Camp, and 2 trainees. And that's all we got for the whole fire on the South Zone. So we were in the 209 as critical needs for line safeties. I'm doing my best to make contacts with people that might be available off other incidents, and we're trying to get more staffing. We're going to continue work on keeping the word that driving is one of our number one issues out there to mitigate, along with the snags and the fire behavior with the increased fire behavior. Day shift did real well today with the increased fire behavior and the spotting and got people out of the way. Everybody's safe, communicated very well amongst the folks that were out in front of this activity, and did very well to make sure everybody stayed safe. That's all I have. Any questions? Thanks.
Thank you, Brian. Communications.
Hello, Ken Earl Communications. So we've gotten word that the road to Shut-Eye has been fallen. It's been okay, made safe. So we're going to be putting that repeater up there tomorrow, which will make, I think, communications tie in a lot better up in the areas that they're concerned about here, November area. The other thing we're considering doing, and we'll make sure that we touch in with operations very closely, but since it's starting to slow down here, there is a repeater down there that's not doing a whole bunch for us in Fence Meadow. So we're looking at relocating that repeater way out here on a mountain called Mount Murphy, which will give us a good view a little bit lower down into the lower part of the fire where it's growing out. And also we'll be able to, in case it's needed, speak into Bishop. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you, Ken. Medical.
Evening, Jeff Carlin Medical. So we got a surprise EMT show up today, so we're able to support buffering up the November and Papa divisions today. You guys didn't think good thoughts for me. My REMS teams were UTF, but good news is we got them placed on the 209 as critical needs, so I re-put in those orders today. So more good thoughts. Other than that, no other changes. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. As always, I'm looking for plant support this time of night. Logistics. Thank you. Finance. Information. Reed supports the plan. Liaison. Thank you. And agency reps? Any comments from the agency reps? All right. Closing comments. Incident Commander Rick Young.
So just a couple things. We did have a conversation with the North Zone, and we decided to not move the zone break. That was correct, right? So there was some confusion yesterday. So we stole one of their division letters, keeping the zone break where it is, so no changes there. The weather outlook over the next couple of days is rather bleak. Sounds like it could be challenging us fire behavior. So I just want to make sure operations is really thinking strategically over the next couple of days so that we're maximizing the use and time of those crews and not wasting valuable time over the next couple of days. So I'm sure you guys will. Just make sure that's communicated to the folks. Support the plan.
Thank you for that. IAP components are due at 1900 hours. Our next op briefing is here in this room at 0700, followed by a planning meeting, 1700 hours tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening.